Hello, this is Toby, and I want to introduce a tool called Testem. Testem is a terminal-based tool that aims to make cross-browser JavaScript unit testing very easy, so that you won't have any reason not to be writing tests anymore. So the things I want to cover are how to install it, and then basic usage, and then also how to use Phantom.js with it, so you have a completely headless experience. And then what different test frameworks does it support, as well as how to use custom test pages with it. And then finally, continuous integration. So let's get started. So first of all, how to install it. Testem is built on top of Node.js. So you need to first install Node, which is pretty straightforward process nowadays. If you're on Windows or Mac, you can just download the installer and run it. If you're on Linux, download the source code and compile it yourself. So assuming you have Node installed, to install Testem is just this one-line command. And let me just do that really quick right now. And there we have it. So now that I have Testem installed, I'm going to create a Hello World project. And let's use TDD to write a Hello World program. So I'm going to run Testem now. And this is Testem. Testem is a text-based user interface. And initially, it's going to be waiting for browsers to connect. So to do that, I'm going to copy this URL into a new tab. Once I do that, it'll try to run the project's test suite inside this tab. Since we don't have any tests written yet, it comes back with 0 out of 0, which is fine. So now let's write some tests. So let's create a file in the directory called test.js, and we'll write a test using Jasmine. So I'm gonna say describe hello, and I'll say it returns hello world. So I'm just going to say, if I call the function hello, I expect the result to be hello world. I'm gonna save this file, and as soon as I do that, it will pick up this test file and run it. And so it came back with reference error, hello is not defined. Right, that's exactly what we expect. So now let's implement the function. I'll create a hello.js, and I will attempt to make this test pass. I save it, and we ran the test, and I see it pass. So that's what the workflow would look like when you're using Testem to do TDD. A little bit more about this user interface. So as you can see in the bottom, there's just a very short line of instruction that says press enter to run test. So at any point, you can hit enter to rerun the tests, and Q to quit. So obviously, if you hit Q, it'll quit the program. You can also, theoretically, you can connect any number of browsers to Testem. So I created Safari, for example. And now Safari is running in a different tab. So Testem is driving both of the browsers right now. And now if I hit enter, it'll rerun the test on both browsers. And same thing if I were to make changes in the test or the implementation. Just put some garbage in here and save. It'll rerun the test in both browsers. And you can use arrow keys to flip between the tabs to see the error output in either browser. Okay, so that's the basic usage of Testem. The next thing I want to cover is Phantom.js. So Phantom.js is a headless browser built on WebKit, and it's great for using it as a test driver. So that's what I'm gonna do now. And Testem works with Phantom.js in that if Phantom.js is in your path, then it'll just find that and invoke it automatically for you for your convenience. So I actually already have it installed. I just don't have it in my path yet. So I'm gonna make a soft link to now expose it. I'm gonna soft link it into my user local bin. Phantom.js. I need to sudo to do it. Okay, so I'm gonna make sure that it is in my path, and it is. Okay, so now let me close these two tabs, and if I run Testem now, it'll automatically launch Phantom.js and run the test suite inside of it. So, this is great because basically you can be testing your JavaScript without having to manually launch any browsers if you don't want to. Okay, so the next thing I want to cover is the different frameworks that Testem supports. Testem is agnostic to unit testing frameworks. It supports Jasmine, as I already demonstrated, and it also supports QUnit and Mocha right out of the box. And I do plan on supporting other unit testing frameworks as well. The next thing I want to cover is how to use custom test pages with Testem. So this is when you already have an existing project, maybe, or you need to set up some kind of DOM. So you use a custom HTML page to drive your test suite. A page like this one, for example. So right now you can just drag this file into a browser and it'll run the test suite. But now I want to run this with Testem. So how do you do that? The first thing you need to do is include this snippet inside the test page, just underneath your jasmine.js or QUnit.js or mocha.js. So right here, save it. And then you want to put in the configuration file to specify the path to your test page. So here it just says test page is test.html. So once you do that, those two steps, you're ready to run Testem. So if you do Testem, now just ran the test suite inside of Phantom.js, and I can do the same thing with Chrome. Alright, so that's custom test pages. Finally, I want to cover continuous integration. So I find that while I could connect a lot of different browsers to Testem while I'm doing my TDD workflow, I really don't tend to do that because that's just very tedious to set up. So usually I'll actually only be using one browser, one or two, actually two, because usually I have Phantom kicked off automatically, and then I'll also connect Chrome or something like that. I think testing your code on a variety of browsers, that task is much better suited for doing inside of continuous integration. So Testem's continuous integration mode is Testem CI. And if you do that, it'll run your test suite in all of the browsers that are available on your system right now. But before I do that, I'm going to use the -L option, which will tell you which browsers those are. So right now, Testem knows about these 5 browsers: Chrome, Firefox, Safari, Opera, and Phantom.js. And now if I say Testem CI, it's gonna run the test. Well, there's only one test. It'll run the test on all 5 of those browsers, and it came back with they all passed. The output of Testem in CI mode is TAP, which is the Test Anywhere protocol, which is sort of like a language agnostic output format for your test results. And there are also TAP plugins for popular CI servers like Jenkins, so that works out very well. And the way I have it set up is I have a Jenkins instance running in the cloud on an EZ2 server that runs Windows Server 2008. So I got it set up that on any check-in, Jenkins will run my test suite, consisting of hundreds of tests. It will run the suite on IE 7 through 9 and Chrome, Firefox, Safari, and Opera. So basically all the browsers that I care about. And I have instructions on the project page on how to set up Testem to work like that with Jenkins. So that is all I have to cover about Testem. I hope you'll find this tool helpful. And there's additional information on the project page, obviously. I'm going to be working on this project pretty actively, so feedback is very welcome on GitHub. Thank you very much.